And we are live. My remote actually works today. I tried to use it yesterday, but my phone kept running out of storage. I blamed the remote. Got super mad at the remote. It's not the remote. It was me. Hey, but we are back with the NFL 2021 mock draft part 2. The draft's in 19 days. Super excited. Less than 3 weeks away. So we are going to do one of these every week leading up to the draft, and then we're going to do a live show for the draft on draft night for round 1. But yeah, let's just jump straight into it. Jacksonville Jaguars hold the first pick. So, all right, sorry. This is the first time I've ever actually tried to use the draft network. Like, I'm not really like with the tech stuff, so I don't know how to get this onto, like, you know what I'm saying, and then I'm in a little bubble. I don't know how to do that, okay? I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy who loves sports. So, I already got my list right here. I don't want you to cheat my test. Here's my answer key. But, we're going to go down, and we're just going to kind of go one by one until we get to the 32nd pick. There we go. So, number 1, Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 1 need, quarterback. Number 1 player in the draft, quarterback. Number 1 prospect we've ever seen in our lives, quarterback. So who are we going to pick? Trevor Lawrence, straight out of Clemson. He pretty much, everybody knows he's going to start day 1. There's no learning curve with him. You're going to plug him right into the system. He's going to be your leader. He's going to be a quarterback for the next 20 years. If Jacksonville doesn't mess that up. All right, number 2, we got the Jacksonville. We got the New York Jets picking 2nd. They just traded Sam Darnold for some picks. So I think it's a no-brainer. They're going to go Zach Wilson, BYU. They really, really like Zach Wilson. I got my skepticisms about Zach Wilson. I think he's a great talent, good arm, great out of the pocket. Kind of like a Baker Mayfield type guy. His size bothers me, but not up and down. It's more of stature. Like, he looks more like an RG3 to me. And RG3's body type really couldn't handle being that athletic at the next level. So that, I have some of my concerns about that. But with the way that the Jets are looking, the way that Zach Wilson's pro day went, I think it's a no-brainer. I think Zach Wilson is going to be a Jet. Now, this leads me to number 3. Everybody on ESPN is saying that the 49ers traded for the 3rd pick to select Mac Jones. Here's the thing. You don't go from 12 to 3 for Mac Jones. You stay at 12 if you want Mac Jones. A lot of people I know have Mac Jones falling into the 20s and the late teens, somewhere around there. So I don't believe that the 49ers would pretty much go all in. And I don't believe Kyle Shanahan would bank his job on Mac Jones. You know who I think they would bank their jobs on? Justin Fields, quarterback, The Ohio State University. Look, I hate Ohio State. No love lost. But Justin Fields is a hyper athlete with hyper accuracy who can push the ball downfield, make plays for you outside the pocket, can run play action, in my opinion, as good as any of these other quarterbacks in the draft class. And that's really going to play with Kyle Shanahan's strong suit of the run game. So you're going to get a little bit of read option. You're going to get a little bit of zone option. You're going to get a little bit of... They might even throw the triple option in there. Kyle Shanahan loves running the ball. And then when you got a guy who can run a play action and push it 70 yards downfield in one play, 10 seconds, that guy you don't... That's the guy that you trade your future for. That's the guy. It's not Mac Jones. With the 3rd pick, San Francisco 49ers selecting Justin Fields, quarterback of Ohio State. You know, I heard Daniel Jeremiah say that this is where the draft starts. The 4th pick with the Falcons, because they can kind of do anything at this point. They got Matt Ryan for, I think, another year or 2. Could just be a year. So I don't think that they need to necessarily address quarterback now. And the only two quarterbacks left on the board are Trey Lance and Mac Jones. That rounds out the top 5 quarterbacks in the class. But I honestly think you lost Hunter Henry. Matt Ryan is top 14, 15 quarterback in the league. He's not bad at all. Your offensive line, solid. Not great, but solid. So what do you need to do? What do you really need? And that need is, with the 4th pick, Kyle Pitts, tight end, out of Florida. That guy can do it all at 245 pounds. He ran a 4.4 40. You're giving Matt Ryan another option to look at down the field other than Julio. Because I understand you have Julio. You have Calvin Ridley. You don't need an outside receiver. You don't need an inside receiver. You know what you do need? A Swiss Army knife that can do it all. Give Matt Ryan another look. Give Matt Ryan more help. Because you got a good quarterback. It's not your quarterback's fault. You couldn't play defense last year. That's what was causing you games. So I don't like that that people have Atlanta taking a quarterback this year. I think they look more in the future, 2022, that draft class for their quarterback. But I think they're sticking with Matt Ryan. And I think that Kyle Pitts is going to add one more weapon to that offense. And that's an offense, the NFC South, that's an offense that has to compete with a lot of high-powered offenses. You got Tampa Bay, you got New Orleans, and you got Carolina. All 3 of those offenses have either gotten better or stayed consistently good, if not great, over this offseason. Carolina now has a quarterback, like a real deal quarterback. New Orleans is always going to be New Orleans. And the Buccaneers just won the Super Bowl. You need weapons. You need an offense. So that's why I think Atlanta goes Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida. Now, this is tricky. Bengals at 5. You got 2 options. You got Penei Sewell, offensive tackle, Oregon, or Jamar Chase, wide receiver, LSU. Now, yesterday when I did my mock draft, I promised that I wouldn't mess it up. I promised I'd stay consistent to the paper. On the basis of staying consistent to the paper, I think that we give Joe Burrow his boy back, especially with a year coming off injury. You know that he's going to want to try to prove people wrong, so you need another weapon to just push the ball down the field. You lost A.J. Green. I'm going to go Jamar Chase, wide receiver at LSU. Just reunite those boys. They had the greatest college football season ever together. Reunite them. Reunite them. Sounds smart, right? I think that's what Cincinnati's going to do. Jamar Chase, wide receiver. This leads me to my Dolphins with the 6th pick from Philly. See, this is what I don't like about the Draft Network. It says that we don't need a tackle. We need a tackle, guys. Like, we need tackles. So, you know, I see a lot of people with Rashawn Slater going before Penei Sewell, and I get it. I could wrap my head around it. But the Dolphins at 6, there's just too much upside for me to not choose Penei Sewell. So I'm going to go Penei Sewell, offensive tackle, Oregon. Detroit. So look, a lot of people think that Detroit's going to go quarterback. But the only reason they think Detroit's going to go quarterback is because Justin Fields is going to fall to 7. But in my mock draft, Justin Fields does not fall to 7. So I think Detroit has Jared Goff for one more year. They need him to perform if they don't want to be another laughingstock again. They got their GM and head coach to long-term contracts. The only thing they don't have to a long-term contract is their quarterback. So, I think next year you have free options. Why lock yourself in this year when next year you have all the options in the world? You can draft a quarterback next year. You can get one out of free agency. You can trade for one. Like, next year you have all that cap space to be able to do that. So I don't think the Lions go quarterback unless it's Justin Fields. So if the Niners pick Justin Fields, I'm going to have to go Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, Alabama to the Detroit Lions. I think you just, Kenny Galladay's gone. You just give Goff weapons. He was awesome with Cooper Kupp. Jared Goff was a top 5 quarterback, MVP candidate with Cooper Kupp. But now he's nothing. So you give him something. And Jalen Waddle, before he broke his ankle at Alabama last year, he was considered the Heisman frontrunner, not Devontae Smith. He was considered the best wide receiver in college football, not Jamar Chase. So, I think it's a great pick. Great pick. All right, Carolina. This is a no-brainer. Carolina just got their quarterback of the future. What are you going to do? Draft your left tackle for the future. We're going to go Rashawn Slater. Fills the biggest need they have. And it ensures that the guy you just got and you're proud of and you want him, it ensures that he believes in his success with you because you're willing to protect him. Dang, I wish I didn't lose my voice. That's terrible. Denver, we got, it says team needs quarterback, linebacker, corner. Here's the thing. Can they go Trey Lance? Absolutely, they could go Trey Lance. Could they go Mac Jones? Absolutely, they could go Mac Jones. Could they go Micah Parsons? They get a little bit of a reach for Micah Parsons. You know who I don't think it's a reach for? Patrick Surtain II. I think that guy comes in and is immediately the best corner on the team. They just signed Isaiah Simmons, so in my eyes, with Isaiah Simmons and Patrick Surtain, those guys one day can be like a new Legion of Boom-esque figure. I think that they still have confidence in Drew Lock. So yeah, I'm going to go Patrick Surtain, DB Alabama. Here's the Dallas Cowboys. This is an interesting pick. Very interesting pick. For me, I went back and forth between offensive line and corner, because corner is their biggest need. They haven't had a real corner since Byron left. But, see, this is where it's hard, because today I feel different than I did yesterday. I love J.C. Horn. I love J.C. Horn. I think he's one of the best prospects at corner, very physical, that I've ever seen. But you couldn't block, and Dak got hurt. We want to make sure Dak gets blockers. That's my opinion. So I think that they're going to go with the big fella, Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle, Virginia Tech. That's what I wrote yesterday. That's what I'm going to stick today. Even though that J.C. Horn pick just looked so nice. So nice. All right, at 11, we got the New York Football Giants. This one was easy. You're going to give Daniel Jones the best chance to succeed. You're going to go wide receiver, Devontae Smith, Alabama. Won the Heisman. Best route runner in the class. He's got it all except size. But when he jumps, he plays big. So I love Devontae Smith. You can put him in the slot. You can put him on the outside. He can run routes on any corner in the NFL, I think, in my opinion. I think he has that talent and that hard work. Sorry, I had to like a little hair. So, yeah. You're giving Daniel Jones no excuses now. You got an okay offensive line. You got receivers all around. Saquon's coming back next year. Yeah, everybody forgot Saquon's the top 5 running back in the NFL. This leads me to Philadelphia. Now, it breaks my heart because Philly needed a receiver, and the top 3 receivers are off the board. So they don't go reaching for a receiver. What I think they do is they try to fill a team need. Now, it says here that they need wide receiver, tight end, corner, safety, linebacker. Here's the thing. In my opinion, defenses are run through linebackers. Belichick won 6 Super Bowls running his defense through linebackers. Defenses are made to win through linebackers. The 85 Bears had 4 linebackers on the field at all time, no matter what. So, when you got a guy like Micah Parsons who can get to the quarterback if he needs to, can stop the run, can play the pass, is fast from sideline to sideline, big, physical, bruising guy. I gotta go with Micah Parsons, man. There's so much upside to Micah Parsons. And this leads me to the Chargers. Now, the Chargers need an offensive tackle. Their interior offensive line is good. They need an offensive tackle. But they also need to be able to cover receivers in the AFC. Because you're in a division with the Chiefs. You're in a division with the Broncos. You're in a division with the Raiders. All of their receivers speed on the outside. All of their receivers can catch in traffic. All of their receivers have quarterbacks that throw the ball really good and really far. Maybe not the Broncos, but so I don't think they go Elijah Vera Tucker. I think that their interior offensive line is already solid, and I don't think they reach for Tevin from Oklahoma State. So I'm gonna go. I think they're super high on J.C. Horn. Everybody's got J.C. Horn going to the Chargers in their mock. I think the Chargers have J.C. Horn going to the Chargers in their mock. This is kind of a lock. I like J.C. Horn. Quarterback, South Carolina. Minnesota. They need an interior offensive line. So we're just going to go ahead and pick the best player available at that position. Elijah Vera Tucker, USC. He can go and play guard on either side of the line, and you're going to give Kirk that protection that he needs, because under pressure, Kirk is not worth $80 million. And now here's the tough one. New England. Here's New England's pick. Now I think if any trades are going to happen on draft day, it's going to be New England moving back. Because I don't think they need anybody here. They just spent $200 and something million in free agency to kind of get their team together. So yesterday, I picked quarterback Mac Jones. So that's what I'm going to do today. I think Mac Jones is going to be a Patriot. Mac is I think he's going to be able to learn from Cam. He's obviously not going to play year one because they're committed to Cam. But I think that the prospect of Belichick having a guy who was with a guy like Nick Saban, who's like got that discipline for their quarterbacks. You got to remember, Mac Jones waited 3 years to play. Very patient dude. Good character guy. And I think that's more of the Belichick, the Patriot way. So I'm going to go Mac Jones, quarterback, Alabama. Kind of a controversial pick in my own mind. Arizona, look. You don't got a running back, but you got a hell of receivers, and you got a great quarterback. So what are you going to do? You're going to draft the best running back available. And in my opinion, that is Najee Harris, running back, Alabama. I think him and Kyler are going to complement each other's playing styles very well. And I think Najee Harris makes an immediate impact in the league. Arizona's offense is one of the most explosive. Now all they got to do is be able to protect them, and we're good. Just get an offensive line now. You got all your pieces. You kind of built backwards, but it's okay. Just get an offensive line. 17, we got the Las Vegas Raiders. They need a tackle. Tevin Jenkins is still sitting here. Oklahoma State. I got him yesterday. So that's what I'm going to do today. Tevin Jenkins immediately can go in and play left tackle, right tackle. You give Derek Carr that confidence boost, like, hey, these guys are going out and getting somebody to protect me so that I can be able to push the ball downfield like I want. Because I love Derek Carr. Inconsistent, but I think he really likes to push the ball downfield, which is one of those things that I find great in every quarterback. Hey. Well, he just left. And that's my Miami Dolphins. Look, I wanted to go two ways for this pick. I was stuck between Azeez Ojulari from edge out of Georgia, because I think he could come in and make an immediate impact and get to the quarterback. Or do we help our young quarterback take some pressure off of him, and get him a guy like Travis Etienne, running back Clemson, which is exactly what I did. Which is exactly what I think the Dolphins are going to do because, Jesus, they cannot run the ball. And that leads me to my next pick, the Washington football team. Jeremiah Owusu-Komora, linebacker out of Notre Dame. I think you're going to immediately plug him in, and your defense can stop all three offenses in your division. Philly's offense isn't that good. The Giants' offense isn't that good. The Cowboys' offense isn't that good. So, all good, but not that good. And now you have a guy who could come in, and like I said, I like linebackers. He could come in, play middle linebacker, play outside linebacker. He can do everything you need him to do. Kind of like a Swiss Army knife guy. Kind of like Micah Parsons. I just don't think he has the sideline-to-sideline speed like Micah Parsons, and he doesn't have the instincts like Micah Parsons. But I think Ron Rivera, defensive head coach, he's going to take him under his wing. He's definitely going to get him to where he's got to be. And I think Washington's defense, him and Chase Young are going to be like a 1-2 punch for years and years and years to come. All right, this brings me to 20, Chicago. I also think Chicago will be trading on draft day. I think them and the Patriots are the two teams to probably move back. So Chicago got Andy Dalton. But I think they only signed him to a one-year deal. Matt Nagy's crapping his pants. So what I think you do is you get yourself insurance, and you go ahead and just get Trey Lance, quarterback, North Dakota State. If Mac Jones was here, I would have picked Mac Jones. I think the Chicago Bears, if they don't trade back, are going to go quarterback 100%. So I just so happen to get Trey Lance at 20 because I don't need him from pick 3 to 20. Trey Lance it's so funny to watch, like, just based on team need to watch certain players fall. Like, let me, for instance, Micah Parsons at 12, any other draft year, he's going in the top 6. Any other draft year. But because we're so loaded on the front end with skill players that these great players are just falling. And it's crazy to watch. So now we got Indianapolis Colts. They need somebody because they just re-signed T.Y. Hilton to a one-year deal. So they're going to need somebody to kind of come in after him. They're going to need some help on the outside anyway, especially they got to give Carson Wentz the best chance to succeed. They already have a good offensive line. They need a little help at tackle, but I don't think it's their biggest need. I think what they really need to do is get Carson Wentz some weapons. So I think we're going to go Rashad Bateman, wide receiver out of Minnesota. Oh, wow. I guess when your phone's on low battery, it keeps recording. That's kind of clutch. But, sorry about that, guys. But, yeah, I got Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, Minnesota, going to the Colts. Now we got the Titans. The Titans, Jesus Christ, the Titans. The Titans need help on defense. I wanted to get them an edge. They kind of covered it in free agency, but... So what I really did was get him a corner. I went Greg Newsome, the second, out of Northwestern. I think he's a guy that's going to come in. He can play man coverage. He can play zone coverage. Doesn't have really that breakaway speed that I would like that fast twitch, like staying with receivers. But I think he's a big play guy. And yeah, I like the pick. 23, we got the New York Jets' second pick. I think they got their quarterback of the future. Now, what else do you need in the NFL to be successful? You need a guy to get to the other team's quarterback. I think this is the easiest pick I could have made all day. I'm going to go Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia. I think they got their edge rusher for the next 9 to 12 years minimum. I think Azeez is a lock, and to get him at 23 is kind of a steal. Pittsburgh. They need somebody to cover people. They need somebody to cover people. And this is the only reach. But I genuinely love Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech. I think he's slept on. I don't think he should be as low on the boards as people have him. But I think the Steelers are going to feel the same way I do. Well, oops, I didn't even click that. Anyway. All right, but yeah, I think Caleb Farley's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. They're going to get that defense really rounded out because, gosh, it's one of the best defenses in the league. They did lose some firepower up front, but now you got some more help on the outside. Jacksonville Jaguars, they're going to go edge rusher, kind of like what the Jets did. They're going to get their quarterback. They're going to get their edge rusher. I think the Jags are going to go Jalen Phillips, edge out of Miami. I like this pick a lot. Real upside for a big guy. Can't really go wrong. Now we got Cleveland. Cleveland, what do you do? What do you do in this draft? Your offense is good. Your defense is good. You get your best player on the defensive side in Myles Garrett, a running mate. And I think that running mate's going to be Kwity Paye out of Michigan. I think that guy can kind of do it all. 3 technique, 4 technique, can go inside, outside. He's one of those guys that has so much potential. Like, his potential's through the roof. And if you can combine him with Myles Garrett, that's going to be one of the scariest defensive lines. It's going to compete with Pittsburgh's defensive line. Same division, going to compete with Pittsburgh's defensive line. And it's also going to be able to help contain Lamar Jackson, same division, 2 times a year. You got to be able to hold Lamar Jackson. So to have 2 good edge rushers that can kind of stay here and really control the offensive line is really good. I think that pick, if Kwity Paye falls to Cleveland, is going to be magnifico. Now we got Baltimore. Baltimore, they haven't had a good safety since Earl Thomas got turned into a blocker. So I'm going to go Trevon Moehrig. I love Trevon Moehrig out of TCU. He's like a hyper athlete. He can play both types of safeties. I think he's going to play free safety, but that's a guy that you can plug in on day one, and he's instantaneously one of the leaders of your defense. He's a guy that you can rely on. I like Trevon Moehrig, and to get him at 27 is kind of a steal as well. New Orleans. I don't really think they need receivers. They got their quarterback kind of. They're going to do quarterback by committee with Jameis and Taysom. So what I think they're going to end up doing is going Jason Owe. Let's help out that defensive line. Edge Penn State. Let's help out that defensive line because you got some studs on that defensive line. But they're getting a little older, so let's try to take the pressure off their backs. Still try to get to the quarterback. Still try to keep that New Orleans Saint way of doing things where the defense is really the running the table. Can't talk to that. All right, now we got the Green Bay Packers. Everybody's going to hate me. I don't think there's a receiver good enough to be picked right here. So I'm going to go with the next team need that I see. And I'm going to go Samuel Cosmi, offensive tackle out of Texas. A lot of people have him going to the Chiefs at 31. I have him being picked up by the Packers because Aaron Rodgers really wants to be there. They need to show that they're committed to him and helping him. And how better to do that than to draft a left tackle while he's 40. Get him his left tackle for the future. Even if his future is only 4 years. Get him his left tackle for the future. Show him that you're committed to him. And that's what I think getting an offensive tackle is going to do. And now with Buffalo, I'm going to go Eric Stokes, DB out of Georgia. I think he's a guy that can kind of sit on the other side of Tre'Davious White, and now you have a guy that can play the 1 and 2 receivers on both sides of the ball. I think that's going to be one. Like, I'm a Dolphins fan. I hate thinking about this, but they can cover all the receivers in the AFC East together. That's going to be one of the nastiest back sevens, but yeah, I love it. I love this pick. Eric Stokes to Buffalo. Dang, that's a steal too. There's so many teams getting steals just because of the amount of depth within skilled players in this draft class. It's crazy. All right, 31. I'm going to go. The Chiefs don't have a vertical threat. They got Tyreek Hill, and he can go deep because he's fast. But they don't have a guy who can go up in triple coverage and catch that. Who can? Terrace Marshall, 6'3", 200 pounds, from LSU. I think you kind of reach for him a little bit, but you get yourself that guy that can help Patrick Mahomes push the ball down the field in tight coverages instead of just relying on your receivers to blow by when sometimes they're hurt because of that fast switchability, so you don't even have them sometimes. So I like to pick Terrace Marshall, wide receiver LSU. Now here's my favorite pick in the whole draft. This is why Christian Barmore is a winner. Just left the national championship at Alabama. Interior defensive lineman. The best interior defensive lineman in the draft. Like I've been saying, great players are going to fall just based on team need. Christian Barmore is that player. Now you're going to go play with Tom Brady, play for the Super Bowl champs, and you're going to go in the first round because that's their only need. You're going to get to sit behind Ndamukong Suh. You're going to get to sit behind Shaq Barrett. So I think the real winner of the draft out of all 32 of these kids is Christian Barmore, interior D lineman, Alabama. He's going to the Buccaneers in my mock. And that's it. There you go. There's my mock. Thank you guys so much. That was the mock draft part 2. I really have fun doing these. I love talking to you about like the new incoming, the crop, I should call them, the fresh crop of players coming into the NFL. It really, like, I love seeing the growth because I think the caliber of athlete that we're watching today is better than the caliber of athlete that was 20 years ago. So, yeah, this is awesome. And yeah, let me grab my remote, see if this works. I'm going to dance. Woo! I hope that works.